For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Dew Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Dew Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Dew Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
Welcome back to the Buffalo Combat Zone. I'm your host, Alex, joined by my co-hosts, Miley and Randall. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section. What's up, fellas?
What's going on? How we doing?
Long day. I've had a long day.
It was a long day yesterday, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awful. Yeah. Sometimes when we watch our intro video, I feel like we're watching Top Gun Maverick.
It gets me fired up.
That's a goal, right?
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, man. So today we're going to go over the preseason game last night. I think we have a lot to talk about on that subject. And then we'll get into the Hendrickson stuff. And we may dabble into some other areas, too, and where we think, what we think this team's going to do and like where we see some of the weaknesses maybe that are pretty evident on the roster. And then lastly, we'll do a little preview into next week and into the final preseason game, if what we want to see in the game itself. So who wants to start? Do you want to start, Randall, on your thoughts on the game? Just generally, I know it was a pretty rough watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was generally a rough watch. I mean, realistically, I think we should take it with a grain of salt. It seemed like the joint practice was more important to Sean McDermott and the team to get Josh Allen 7-on-7s, and they were able to use two fields to put their offense and defense out at the same time. So it seemed like they valued the joint practice more. As you can see, the only starter was Cole Bishop in his first start for the preseason. So that makes sense, and we basically played vanilla defense the whole entire way. Defense looked bad. The backups looked bad. Damar Hamlin is still showing that he may not be worth that safety 3 position. Landon Jackson is proving that he needs a lot more development than we would kind of expect when you would think that athleticism could maybe fill in some gaps in the first half of the year, but that's not going to be the case. I mean, we can see linemen not taking a step back or two, just stonewalling them a lot of the time. He did have a couple good pressures. And then that led to a roughing the passer, I believe. So it's kind of just completely up and down when it comes down to it. But overall, I think we should kind of throw this one in the trash. Other than potentially Damar Hamlin looking at certain options in that degree. Miley, what did you think?
So I unfortunately wasn't able to watch the game. I was driving back from Cleveland last night. So I didn't really fully see what was going on, but I saw the reactions of everything, and I've seen clips here and there. I guess my biggest takeaway is it's preseason, so I don't take much away from it. If I'm being honest, I mean, we lost 33-6 to the Bears last year. They ended up with the 10th pick in the draft, and we were a drive away from the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I don't really put much into preseason besides really it's trying new things, getting kinks out, and fringe roster players. Let's see how they look. If they look great, they make a spot. They don't look so great, maybe they're going to get caught. That's kind of what it is to me. Again, we only started. Cole Bishop was the only starter. Josh didn't play. I will never fully grade this team on any game that Josh Allen doesn't suit up for them because we're a completely different team when he's on the field. So when he doesn't play, it really, the outcome isn't that important to me. I mean, obviously losing 38-0 isn't fun. Obviously they didn't play great or they wouldn't have lost like that. But I don't have too many big takeaways away from it because, again, it is preseason. But I guess the one big takeaway is Jordan Hancock with another strong game. Fortunately, he got injured. Hopefully he can get healthy quickly because he was looking towards making a roster spot, especially with DeMar struggling. And, I mean, it's like Cam Lewis is there, and Cam Lewis has been on the team for a while. I know the Bills like him, but it's like he's a great player. There's definitely ways for Hancock to make it in. He was a 5th-round pick, and you usually don't see teams cut their 5th-round picks before they even get a chance to make the roster. So you would expect him to make it, and maybe that kind of forces Hamlin out, or Cam Lewis takes Hamlin's spot. And Hancock's Tehran's backup, who's dealt with injuries in the years past and even got banged up in the first preseason game. So it is really nice to see Hancock look good in multiple positions because he is basically Cam Lewis's replacement, and eventually down the line, maybe they probably both make it this year. So that's my big takeaway.
We didn't get any update on Hancock and his shoulder, right?
It sounded like it was minor.
That's what I mean. Our Twitter doctors said it was minor, which is good.
Yeah, they said initially it looked like it was. He thought it was serious, but it doesn't sound like it is. It wasn't a concussion. I think it was a shoulder.
Yeah.
I think thigh doctor said it was an AC joint. He thought so. I mean, that's good enough for me. I mean, we're not looking for him to produce right away. My thoughts are, I just think that everyone needs to take a step back and like use some perspective. So let's start with the joint practices. We didn't like the majority of our starting defense and offense, or offense not so much, but on defense, it was a majority of a mixture of third stringers and some second stringers, and then Cole Bishop, right? Second stringers like Dorian Williams. We had, I guess Hamlin's like a second stringer as well.
Zion Logue started.
Zion Logue is like a third string guy. Yeah. Like, you know, even if Solomon's a third string guy, but if you start the practice, I like listening to beat reporters from the Bears when this kind of things go down. And initially I think I picked the wrong ones because they were like hyping them up so much and downplaying what we did. And then after the fact, I was listening to some Bears stuff on YouTube, some like more credentialed people, like higher end people. And every single one of them said we won the practice, but they were happy that the Bears looked like they belonged with us on the field, which is reasonable. They've added a lot of free agency additions. It's the second year of a high end prospect at quarterback. They have quite a few weapons. They've improved a lot of their areas of need, right? And then we decided in the game not to bring those guys out. This was effectively the way we approached the third preseason game, if you think about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of guys. We play guys that have to be on that we have to play because we have to put people on the field, right? Unfortunately. I kind of wish we didn't put it back in the field yesterday. But what I would say is like, from taking a step back, I looked at some of the stuff today. Cole Bishop's mishap was a good example of this when he got beat by Zacchaeus on the slant for a touchdown. I don't think, and you looked at it just now, Randall, before we got on the show, I don't think that there was the responsibility of Bishop to contain. I think he was just supposed to keep him from the outside. He thought it was going to be an outside route. He had that kind of he had that positioning. And then I think Hendrickson was the guy who was supposed to come over into that area of the zone. And when he didn't, he was beat already. And then he's turning upfield. And Zacchaeus has got a lot of juice. He can get upfield pretty quick. We've seen that when he was in Washington. So I think that the majority of what I took away from it, I wish we had played better, was a combination of us just not coming ready to play, but also they had most of their starters out for the first like 3 drives. We never had much of a starter presence on the field. And it's really hard for starting caliber players to play with guys like Codrington at cornerback, right? Guys who just shouldn't, like if Codrington couldn't return kicks, he would not be in the league. We can agree on that, right? Like he might be in the UFL. So like you got guys like that out there and rookies who don't really know what they're doing yet. And they're out of place in some positions. You can see a lot of people out of place throughout the whole game who just seem a little bit lost and a little head underwater. So, you know, in having to pick up that slack, I mean, playing defense really is a unit thing. You know what I mean? And on the offensive side, Mike White just sucks. I'm sorry to say it. He's not good. He's done this before.
He's the definition of inconsistent.
Yeah, he fools you. Yeah, he fools you.
Walmart Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, kind of like he like on the Jets. He had that one game to start off, and he was really, really good. And then after that, he just consistently got worse. And I just think that's who he is. In Miami, he couldn't beat out Skylar Thompson, who's not accurate and can't really play. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. I saw that and I was just like, this is over. And Mitch Trubisky came in. By the time they put Trubisky in, I think they were trying to score points. He was like, all right, go back in, save some face. By the time he got in, it was over. And once momentum carries, once you're down 28-0, it's really easy to go down 38-0, you know? And I think that's a lot of what happened. It was a momentum thing, a not being ready thing, and then the starters being on the field with a lot of guys, and they just one guy or two guys cannot pick up the slack for the group. And these are our two worst cover linebackers, if you think about it. I mean, I love Dorian Williams. He's not the best guy in coverage. He's okay if they have a guy next to him who can cover some. But like him and Hendrickson out there together, not a good look. They utilize the middle of the field a ton. Mm-hmm. And us playing soft and kind of in a base defense with no scheming, I think just didn't do us any favors. And, you know, like I said, I wish that we came out better. I do. I think it's a nothing burger, honestly. But we do have some questions now, I think, that's fair to address about maybe some of the guys that we initially were like, okay, this guy's going to be a big part of the team. Like, what are we thinking now? Like, is Hancock the new like darling that we want to step in? I think Hancock played fine. Everybody's hyping him up because I think it's a little bit of situational bias. We're seeing this in a really huge collapse of a preseason game, and he's the best looking one. And everybody's like, oh, he was amazing. But dude, like he was good. He was okay. Like I thought he was fine, but he wasn't like a world beater yesterday either. So I think we need to pump the brakes on him a little bit.
Yeah. His mentals are what got him out into the 5th round. It basically is his IQ and his understanding of concepts. And that's the issue is him consistently going up against number ones, if you were to start week 1 and things along those lines, would show. It would completely open up holes, and I think it would show his flaws. So I do think that we need to take a little bit of time on Jordan Hancock to get him ready, but I would not be opposed. I mean, if we don't go the safety route and we need to throw him in, if we're putting Cam Lewis out there with Cole Bishop, I almost would rather use the athleticism of Jordan Hancock and see what happens like that, because I don't know how Cam Lewis will do on that safety side. So I do agree. And then like a lot of people were talking about TJ Sanders kind of getting ragdolled and things along those lines. And I'm kind of with you, Alex, on he was getting ragdolled when it was already 28-0. And I'm curious to see the sideline was like, okay, well, you're going to play snaps because you're a rookie and you need the reps, but don't get injured, sort of thing. Like, don't push a calf injury because you're trying to push somebody back when this game's pretty much already in the books by half. So I think that's also a moot point to bring up as well when you were talking about that, Alex. That's good. But yeah, his mentals is what got him in the 5th round, and first teams and starters will exploit that in the regular season. So we need to kind of just manage expectations for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, he's more so someone I just hope makes the roster as a developmental piece. I don't want to see him playing the field. Yeah. And I mean, also, I think the DeMar experience has to end at some point. He was not good last year. He's looked even worse this year. I guess Derek Forrest just must be that bad if they're not playing him over.
I don't remember seeing him yesterday.
At all.
I thought Forrest would be like shot in the dark. Like he looked pretty decent in Ron Rivera's system, and McDermott's a similar system as he came from Carolina to under Rivera. I'm thinking, maybe this could be a decent fit as a backup, but they haven't played him like at all. They're playing them, and I guess he must just be that bad because what we've seen out of the safeties has not been good, and he's not beating that out. Like I don't really know what to say, but one thing I want to say is people, Justin Simmons this, Justin Simmons that. There's a reason he's still a free agent. If he had anything left in the tank, he would have already been signed by someone.
I'd almost be more intrigued. I would say I'd almost be more intrigued by Duggar if he's available for trade for real. But the problem with him is he's another guy that's probably better off in the box safety.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
the cap.
He fits.
That's what he is. I mean,
the contract, he's making almost $15 million a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, if they take on some of that contract, maybe. I mean, they've already made it pretty known that they don't like him, I guess. But yeah, I'm almost thinking Hancock too. Like, I see him as a Taron Johnson kind of player. I thought maybe that was going to be his role, is to fill in. And then now I feel like they're like, well, our safety room is not good enough, so let's try him there. And he's been pretty good. Better than Hamlin. I'd much rather trot him out there than Hamlin. Because Hamlin makes his own set of mental mistakes every single week. Cam Lewis has looked the best as third safety. I know you hate him, Miley, but I think he's
I'll agree with that. I don't like him, but I watched that game against the Giants, and I was, as much as I don't like him for what I've seen, I will give credit where credit's due. He played pretty well in that Giants game. He made some pretty nice tackles. He didn't seem to get cooked in coverage at all. So yeah, he's looked decent this year, and he's definitely looked better than DeMar.
And maybe he's gotten better. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
And let's talk about this too. It's something I almost forgot to say. So Tyrell Shavers. I am still in the camp that we should stick with Elijah Moore as wide receiver 5. And this is why. I think that I think they said this on WGR this morning. I think it's a really good point. Could you see Shavers getting 50 catches and 7 touchdowns? Probably not. But I could see Elijah Moore doing that. And if that's more of the upset side of him, and he's a space creator, a true space creator, where Shavers is not necessarily that. He's a little redundant with Keon in a lot of ways, although he might be a little bit better athlete. I don't know. He didn't have any testing to show that anything, but he looks like a fluid athlete. And I'd love to have him as wide receiver 6 if we keep 6. I just can't replace a guy who has had production in the NFL, who's also seemed to be like missing his ceiling a little bit because of the quarterbacks he's played with. I know it's an excuse, but I'd like to see that through, What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would do the same, to be honest with you. There was a rep which Greg Olson did a good job explaining it when Shavers had that missed it on the fingertips. Yeah. And he was explaining, he was like that, Shavers, great wide receiver. But when he was looking back, he looked back at the quarterback instead of looked up in the air. And that's why he missed that ball. And those small nuances are something that I think Elijah Moore won't have a problem with. And his skill set and speed is something that we need in that wide receiver 5 position. I think Elijah Moore has been up and down because of his previous quarterback play. Jumping into Josh Allen with the way Josh Allen's velocity and how important timing is to Josh Allen, I think it's just going to take him a little bit. I wouldn't expect Elijah Moore to put up substantial numbers week 1, 2, or 3. But once he gets full speed, pads on, full games, week 4 on, then he'll start getting more acclimated and he'll start doing what we need him to do, which again is an individualistic trait and speed that we need if we only roster 5 wide receivers.
I agree. And he's even different than Shakir. Like, I know he'd be Shakir's backup, but they're just totally different players. He actually provides you a true slot. He can play on the outside too, but a true slot option. That's his best area, who can give you a little bit of yak, but also like he uncovers really, really quickly. Not like Beasley level, but his route running is pretty crisp and clean. He runs his routes hard. He tends to get separation in that area of the field, where Shakir doesn't always do that. Shakir is almost more like a Swiss Army knife. But yeah, I don't know. I've heard a lot of Shavers over Elijah yesterday, and I can't wrap my head around it. I love Shavers. I think he'd be great. If we had a real wide receiver 1 and 2, I'd be like, let's try it. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we're not there, dude. Like, we have to have a deep room,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very frustrating seeing this. It's like training camp and preseason are for young guys. Established veterans, it's just getting into the thick of things. If they're struggling a little bit, we've seen Elijah Moore do it on the NFL field. Last year, he had a pretty decent year despite being in Cleveland. He's played for the Jets and the Browns, and he's averaged like 550 yards a year, which isn't a lot, but playing for the Jets and the Browns, you do that. But on the Bills, that's more like 700 because we have a quarterback who isn't god-awful and can actually throw the football.
And a scheme that's a little bit more conducive to his skill set.
Yeah, I really don't understand that talk. I still think Elijah Moore is clear wide receiver 4.
I do too.
Curtis Samuel's still the one I would rather have gone. Obviously, the contract and finding someone to trade that. Hopefully the 49ers. I mean, they were in on Mechie before he got traded. They're clearly looking for someone. And Curtis Samuel's kind of similar to a different Samuel. They just traded away. And Debo, they're semi-similar players. That could kind of be your cheap replacement.
Less injury prone. Well, then Debo's probably even worse injury-wise.
Yeah. They have a lot of salary cap.
Minor, right?
We have 3 7s. Attach him in a 7th to get or 2 of the 7ths. I don't care. 2 of the 7th for 1 7th, or if we could even do a 7th for 6 swap, that'd be cool. But I think the Niners would make sense for them to be interested, and that would be the way I'd want Shavers on the roster. Last thing I want is 6 wide receivers.
I'm
6 wide receivers is too redundant. I think we already have enough diversity out of the 5 receivers that if we get a 6th, unless they're offering special teams, but Shavers doesn't. What value are they bringing?
And we've
Where
seen,
is he?
Yeah, let's say we've seen this with Shavers too before. That's the other thing. I've seen him play well in preseason games. I've seen us talk about him in camp, how he's amazing and this and that. And he still doesn't make the team. He still, when he plays against high end, I know he had that slant at the end of the game when the game was over. He caught it and ran it 60 yards, wherever, touchdown last year. But I mean, when I see him play against first string competition, the few times I've seen it, I mean, he doesn't look out of place, but he doesn't do the same. He doesn't do that same, like that deep ball he missed right off his fingertips. That release was nasty. It left the dude in the dust. He just cut him upfield. It was a good route, but I mean, we're playing at that point. He didn't finish.
Ball
and
tracking
is third stringers at this point, you know.
Yeah.
Ball tracking, in my opinion, is the most underrated wide receiver thing you could do. Like T.Y. Hilton made a career out of just being able to track the ball, like especially on deep routes. I think to be a good deep ball catcher, it's better. I mean, speed is important. I think if you want to be good down the field, I think the most important thing is the way you're able to track the ball. I remember when I was playing football, I was a tight end, and our coach would literally just throw the ball as far as he could. And even if he overthrew you, it was still your fault because it was just you had to have that timing down perfectly. You have to stretch your hands at the right time. You don't look back at the quarterback. You just follow the ball, and it's the timing. And being able to do that consistently, because especially someone as good as Josh Allen, he's going to throw that ball where it needs to go a majority of the time. So especially against high-level competition, he's threading those needles that are that big. Like, you have to be able to track that ball properly to play with someone like him. So something like that is definitely something Shavers needs to work on. And again, I just think having 6 receivers is redundant, and that means someone like a Chase Lunt wouldn't make the team, or a Jordan Hancock wouldn't make the team. Like those are the close guys. Shaq Thompson is linebacker 5, or if they want to keep 6 again with Ulafashio, like the defensive line position once Ogunjobi and Hoy come back from suspension. What are we going to do with those 2 spots? Like someone else at a position where I think we need more depth because we're trying to develop young guys to be replacements. We need to keep those guys. Like, we're not developing Shavers to ever be a starting wide receiver. We hope he can develop into having a really cheap wide receiver 5 if we can develop the top end. Hancock, Strong, Solomon, these are guys you're developing into hopefully being able to have legitimate playing time where we can save money when we lose players in free agency. So that's where I think it's more important. We want to keep those guys in the roster for future seasons, especially since having a 6 wide receiver really doesn't even gain much this year to begin with.
Right.
Agreed.
All right. So let's talk about Hendrickson.
He's up for trade now.
I know, huh?
He's up for trade now. I think I'm the pro and 2 con, right?
I'm not full con, but I wouldn't give up a lot for him.
I pretty much am. I think that the Bengals really bungled this up, no pun intended. I think that they should have traded him in draft season when he was worth more, and when there was no era of like, I'm just going to sit out if I don't get paid kind of conversation. It was more of a like, I really want to get paid by you guys. I'm only acting this way because I want you to pay me. But it hadn't gotten to this point, right, where they now feel desperate to trade him. And that point, a team like Buffalo might have said, hey, we'll trade for him. We'll give you a little bump in salary for next year, and then figure out a long-term plan maybe going forward. Whether that's going to happen or not is led to be said. But the point is that back then I was more okay with it, but now I know they have to pay him. Whoever trades for him has to pay him, because what's the point of bringing him in? He's just going to sit out on you too. That's the whole point of this. I'm just not for it at all. I know people think that's crazy, but he's a 31-year-old, 30. How old is he? 31 or 30?
I think he just turned 30.
Okay, he's a 30-year-old pass rusher. He's great. He's led the league in sacks 2 straight years. But he's not the all-around pass rusher like a Garrett or anything like that. You know, I mean, he's a really good player, but I just don't want to pay a guy 35. I think he wants 34, $35 million a year at a minimum. For how long? 3 years? We're going to do that again? I don't know. I feel like that's just a weird place to be again with another pass rusher that we'll have to give up a first round pick for and a player. Like that's just makes me completely out. Who are we going to give up first? A first round pick and like Rousseau. I mean, is it going to be Rousseau?
Well, no way. I mean, at this point,
I wouldn't do that.
At this point, the Bengals' leverage is low because now they're stuck because Trey Hendrickson will now go injury, just like Micah Parsons going to do. They're going to claim injury and sit there and then collect it and then be done with it.
Yep.
6 weeks go by, you can shut yourself down and you still get the season through. So the leverage is low. The only way they're getting a first is if they're shipping them to a non-playoff team. So if they're going to a contender, the whole entire league doesn't think that he's going for a first. Nobody kind of believes that, unless like the Patriots said they'd start giving out first. But I almost think that was more or less along the lines for Scary Terry when Elliot Wolf was talking about that. So realistically, they asked for a young defender. So to be honest with you, I've been floating the name Dwayne Carter all day today because they want a young defender on a rookie contract. Buffalo has done worse to Dwayne Carter than Dwayne Carter's done to Buffalo, to be honest with you. They haven't given him so he's a penetrating 3-tech that they could use, to be honest with you, on that defensive line on a rookie contract. You could obviously do AJ Epineza, but realistically, if you do Dwayne Carter, then you're probably giving away a second. We're terrible at drafting in the second round, realistically. We barely hit on second round. Hopefully Cole Bishop hits, sort of thing. So throw away second. I'm very okay with that. And then you also line up 2026 into that edge class where the edge class is decent, but we're not going to get a good edge at pick 30 to 32 next year, barring we get there, sort of thing. After that, it's kind of average. So then now you're locking up Hendrickson, not worrying are we going to re-sign Bosa if he has a good year? Bosa's out the door. Epineza we don't have to worry about. Then your starting lineup for next year, as well as this year, is Rousseau, Ed Oliver, Daquan or Deion Walker in the front, and then Hendrickson on the other side. I think that's a top seven defensive line. That's a championship-winning defensive line. I think Hendrickson is not going to lose anything. We can give him a 3-year. He's more concerned because I know that he's retiring about the guaranteed money, and that's what the Bengals aren't doing. I think he only wants – Rappaport talked about $30 million this year is what they wanted, but it was more about the guarantees. So I think they had a number set at 30, but the guarantees was an issue. We could hide a $24 million contract APY with whatever guarantees you need and spread them out over 5 years. Put him in a 3-year contract and have his out be after the 2027 season. I think that's very plausible. I do understand that like just doing the Von Miller thing again is an issue. I do I would hold my breath at that point, and that's the only negative connotation is he's old. So is he just going to go the Buffalo way, be in a bunch of cold weather, and then get injured again? That would be awful, sort of thing. But that's the only negative connotation I have for it, especially because we wouldn't be spending a first. I know Brandon Beane won't spend the first. I would be willing to spend a second and a young defensive player because our room will fill up after week 6 with Hoyt and Ogunjobi back. So I would be willing to ship that. I think it makes sense. I think I know, Alex, you capped Rousseau as a pass rusher. So if we're talking about, if you believe that Rousseau is capped at a 9 to 11 sack person, does Bosa top that in 9 to 11 sacks?
He could.
He could. Or can we guarantee a 14 sack out of Hendrickson? I mean, the best guarantee that you can make because nothing's guaranteed in the NFL.
Yeah, before you go, Miley, I want to say something about that too. I mean, so what kind of contract are you thinking? Because you said that you could stash you could do a $24 million AAV over 5 years, and then what do you give him, $90 million guaranteed?
No, so it would be so if you hide the 24, so if you do a 3-year 88, a 3-year 90, and then you do 3-year 90, you give what? 45 to 55 million guaranteed.
Okay, I thought you were trying to stash it late. So I thought you were trying to do 5 years at 120. Let's say 5 years at 120.
Yeah.
With 90 million guaranteed, and we get out of it after year 3 or with very little damage in year 4. I thought that's what you meant. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I think he's looking for the guaranteed in the first and second year, and then if it goes along for the third year, but you could spread out in a $50 million because that's 55% guaranteed, or even if you do 65 million guaranteed out of that 90, then you can give them a 25 to 35 million dollar signing bonus, stretch that over 5 years, and then given out after 2027. I'm roughballing it, but at least dead cap in 2028 would probably be in the 20 million range.
I question whether he'd
cap.
take that. I question whether he would take that deal personally. That's my thing. Like, I know what you're saying. I think that makes sense to me.
Right.
I wonder if it makes sense to him. Like, this is his last big payday. He's looking to cash in. I wonder if he's not looking for even more than that. I mean, just a guess.
Yeah, but a payday as well. But then you're also, again, that kind of coincides with, are you going to go to the Patriots? Or are you going to go to somewhere else, collect $80 million, where the chances are lower for a Super Bowl? Or will you take that guaranteed cut a little bit and go to a Super Bowl contender? So that's what we don't know about Trey Hendrickson.
He's not trading him they're not trading him to us or the Chiefs
for sure.
or the Eagles. Let's be honest.
It sounds like one of the NFL.
They'd rather go to Cleveland, a division. They'd rather go to a division rival, Cleveland, who sucks, than give them to us. Trust me, it ain't happening. But go ahead. Anyway, sorry, Miley. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, now that the way Randall explained what he would willing to give up for Hendrickson, I'm almost like lock in step with him. The contract, like the out after 2027, really the only difference is I wouldn't be willing to give up a full second, only a conditional second, where it's a third that turns into a second if we at least make the AFC Championship game. And I'd rather give up Epinesa and, probably Epinesa instead of Dwayne Carter, because I still really like what I saw to Dwayne Carter when he had that stretch, those couple games prior to getting injured. I really like to see what he does. Yeah, the Bills kind of have not used him properly. Shocker. Shocker, McDermott using D tackles wrong. Who would have thought? Yeah. But I mean, the contract, I was thinking in my head, that's exactly how I would do it. 2-year or 3-year deal out after 2, and you kind of spread the guarantees out to make it not as big against the cap. And you give up a day 2 pick and a defensive lineman. I would just rather give up a defensive end, because if we give up Carter, then we're gonna have to trade Epinesa and Solomon too. Like, we'd have to get rid of 2 defensive ends when Hoyt comes back. And
Solomon might actually be the best potential.
Yeah.
I mean, even
that's probably who they would want.
They won't do it, but Landon Jackson has a lot of upside. He might be a possibility.
I'd be willing to trade Solomon. I'd be
Huh?
willing to trade Solomon, but if I'm trading Solomon, then it's not a conditional second. It's just a straight third, because I really like Solomon's upside. Not saying he's going to ever be like a elite defensive end, but I think he can be like a Bryce Huff type, a great situational pass rusher. They get you like 10-ish sacks. I mean, you don't really bring him on rundowns, but you kind of put him in those passing situations. He creates some pressures, get athletic, clean up sacks, or if Rousseau's coming off the other side, because we know how good Rousseau is at creating pressures. It's, can he take that next step into creating more sacks, which I think he can. I have him capped at like a 12 to 14 range for sacks, just because last year I saw him get a lot of pressures and then the quarterback just run away from him because no one else did anything. And when there's one guy getting pressure, you just run away when the other 3 guys are doing diddly squat. This year, I think we're going to have more pressure up the middle and to the outside. So if Rousseau gets the pressure, I think he'll actually be able to close in and lock up on some of those sacks. I mean, being 10th in pressures, I think, is a little more predictive going forward of your sack totals. But
we
who knows?
But we do this every year, Alex.
He's
every year we say the same. We get all these pressures. They're good. They get the pressure rate so good, and then like we're sitting here with the same number of sacks.
This was easily Rousseau. I mean, this was the most sacks Rousseau had in a year.
Yeah, it's his best year.
This was his best year. He's taking a step, and he had his best year. This was the worst the defensive line has been in how long? The defensive line outside of Rousseau this year was pretty bad. I mean, Vaughn showed some juice occasionally, but like the defensive ends after
Ed Oliver,
the defensive
Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver was inconsistent.
Got penetration,
wasn't
good pass rush win rate, but he's not getting sacks.
Right.
He had 1 year where he got really good sacks.
Yeah, Daquan was bad, especially rushing the passer. Dwayne Carter again had like 3 good games, and the depth was absolutely terrible.
Dude, I don't know why the name is escaping me now. Not TJ Sanders. Dwayne.
Deion Walker?
Deion Walker, not Dwayne Carter. I can't. Dwayne Carter and Deion Walker. I don't know why I can't get this in my head brain. I'm getting old, and my middle-aged brain isn't functioning
right. They both
right.
went to colleges with blue jerseys.
Yeah,
That's where your confusion is.
and then they both have names starts with a D, and like they're both like mid-round picks. But dude, I am really impressed the way he moves. I know that people talked about him and not having a good lower base and things like that, but I think he's going to be great. I thought he had another solid game. TJ Sanders did get handled a little bit yesterday, but a lot of that's just because they can key in on him when we're playing third stringers next to him, you know? So like, you know, I just like what I see he flashes all the time, which even if he's not getting sacks, he can maybe get somebody like Lamar off his spot quicker and make him have to think twice. You know what I mean? I just see a lot of, and this is going to sound crazy. I'm not saying this is who he is, but I see a lot of Chris Jones in his game, the way they play the game. Just the mobility, the way that they're kind of taller, longer players. Neither are like this super stout run defender, but I mean, I think he can turn into something that's serviceable there where he doesn't get beat up, and him just being big eats up gaps, and you don't have to like deal with a lot. Like you don't have, maybe he doesn't have to make the tackle or the stop, but like him being there, generally speaking, actually benefits the line in general. I could see him being a one tech, just being a penetrating. I mean, Daquan Jones is kind of a penetrating one tech if you think
for sure. Kind of same body
not that good at it anymore.
He's not good at it. Yeah, he's just old.
No, let's not crap on Daquan Jones.
I'm going to.
But Deion Walker, 2023 Deion Walker is what we're seeing at the moment. So the whole entire back thing is what I love about it. But I do agree. He could be like Chris Jones. All he needs to do is have a really good mentor. Chris Jones plans for quarters at times. And as long as he can get that mental, I could see that as well. Sorry, Molly.
It's just stylistically. I don't think that I don't know if he's upsides that, but it's stylistically I see something in him like that.
It's really starting to look like that neck injury was really the reason for his 2024 struggles because I'm seeing the same thing. He's really got that juice back and that penetration because he wasn't good last year, but I really believe it's probably that neck injury, which it's nice to see that it seems healthy from it. It could be another Brandon Bean day 3 steal. I hated the pick at the time. But then I kind of read into more about his neck injury. I warmed up to it a little bit, and then what I've seen so far has been.
Tell me why you hated it for. Why did you hate it for real?
Because no. Well, no. I'm like I was screaming. I was screaming big defensive tackle because I wanted someone who could take on double teams. They finally drafted big defensive tackle, and he was probably the worst big defensive quarterback or defensive tackle taking on double teams. I'm like, out of all of the big guys, you take him. Yeah. I'm like, I mean,
dude, I was
really wanted Jalen Royals, but
I was convinced that was Jalen Royals. Like I had, like I was laying on my couch, I was just watching just enjoying the draft, going, okay, we're gonna get a receiver today. It's gonna be soon. Somebody, I forget who it was, got taken right before that pick. It was a receiver. Was it Tesla?
No,
Tesla's was round in the 3. Oh, it was Kyle Williams?
No, Williams was round 3.
That was round 3. It was somebody right before that pick. It was a receiver got taken, one that I didn't care for. And we moved up right behind him. Like, this is it. Because they saw what happened, and they were like, we got to get our receiver now as well. So I was like, yes. I was like we had scored a touchdown. And then they picked Deion Walker, and I was freaking pissed, And I was like, because I didn't like Walker pre-draft. I didn't go far enough into 2023. I knew he had a better season, but 2024 is really what I saw. And I don't like back injuries for tall players. Like Miley, you're a tall guy. Like back injuries are not. I've been
having back problems for 6 years, and I don't play.
And you're like 20. You're like 22 years old, dude.
Yeah, and I haven't played contact football the last 5 of those years.
Walker.
Yeah, I mean, I have back problems at 43.
My back's hurting right now just sitting.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take my victory lap because I actually had Deion Walker as my defensive tackle 10, and then TJ Sanders as my defensive tackle 11. So I had one above TJ Sanders.
See, I didn't do as much work. See, my draft process probably needs to get better in this way, but I tend to focus on players that I think that we would have in our wheelhouse for the Bills, because that's really what I care about is like who's going to be a good fit for us. And I never thought TJ Sanders was going to be somebody on their board that they would want, just because we have a player that's similar to that now. Now I'm glad we took him because I did see the upside there, but I didn't do enough on him just because I didn't have him on board really. If I was looking for bigger, more gap fillers like one text or even zero text.
Was it Ty Robinson from Nebraska?
I love
like those guys. Yeah.
I love Ty Robinson, but
I wanted Alfred Collins.
Yeah, I was in the Collins boat at that point as well. And Tyleek Williams, I was also in on him, although he had kind of faded a little bit because of his pass rush upside wasn't great.
Yeah.
But to me, that was like those are the two targets at that point in the draft. I thought we were going to do it. And I wasn't, I'll say this now. I was not a big Maxwell Hairston guy starting off as well. I thought that a lot of his tape was him using his athleticism to recover after getting beat, like he could jump routes and take them to he hit some pick sixes. I love that. But I'd rather have a guy who's just steady Eddie in coverage and doesn't get torched, even if you don't get picks. Like a Benford.
He was another one where 2023 tape was important too because he had an injury as well. So that's for anybody that likes to scout.
Yeah,
watch multiple games, watch multiple years, folks. Watch multiple years.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it's key. It's key. Now, the only reason I didn't go back on Dion's was because it's the back issues. At 6'7.5".
Right. You'd assume
with bare feet, like that's a super tall guy. You see NBA players all the time have a lot of issues with their backs when they get over like 6'6", 6'7", and they're not 340 pounds, So like, I just didn't think he could redistribute his weight properly to make him thicker in the trunk. I knew he could probably distribute it properly, but I just didn't see the ability to like gain leg girth. From somebody who lifts weights, I work out my legs all the time and I still have stick legs, and it's just genetic, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like sometimes you just don't have it, and I thought that was going to be a problem for him. And it really bothered me at the time. So I just kind of wrote him off my board as well. And I didn't love his 2024 tape either. And I had some concerns about whether we'd be able to get him in shape, but okay. So what are your thoughts? Go ahead. Sorry.
We had a comment with not being able to afford the contract. I believe if we could answer that quickly.
Yeah. Hold on.
Yeah. Cause I know, cause we got,
oh no, it's this one. It's Miles. Anybody know Miles? Oh, that's YouTube. So okay.
Nice. So just for being able to afford his contract, we could restructure Deion Dawkins and Dawson Knox, create $15 million in cap, bring him on over.
Get rid of Curtis Samuel.
And then and then extend him, and then his cap will go down, and then we'll have that cap for 2026. Mm-hmm. The caveat of doing that is Dawson Knox's contract is absurd, and if we restructure it again, then we're stuck with it. Like, we have aspirations in 2026 to probably talk to Dawson Knox and be like, listen, we paid you a lot of money. Let's rework your contract so we can get some cap back. And Dawson Knox will do it because Josh Allen and him are best friends. And
his production isn't warranted.
And he loves this city and wants to win a Super Bowl.
Right, 100%.
Yeah.
So
his drift pay out in Angola.
If we restructure him, there's no sense in even asking him to rework it because dead caps spread out like 2 or 3 times. And then you're basically doing nothing. So that is the caveat of affording Trey Hendrickson in my book.
Yep. We've got 84 people watching right now. Give us a like and subscribe, please. And we appreciate you checking in. Yeah, I think you can do it. How much do you want to kick down the road is the question. And the cap's going to go up every year. How much is it going to go up? We don't know that answer. So we don't really know what the implications are. Josh Allen's contract will then become expensive again in a couple of years as well. Mm-hmm. I love Knox on this team as a tight end too, because I think he's probably one of the top 3 tight end twos in the NFL because he's a starting caliber player. We've seen it when he did start, but I don't know if I really love him. I think they want to run a lot of 12 personnel, which makes him super valuable, but
he's better at 12 than Kincaid.
I love him.
Yeah.
I don't love him at $17 million, which is cap hit next year. But he's also someone who's already taken a pay cut before. Him and Josh Allen are really good friends. Yep. He loves this city also. I'd be pretty surprised if they don't come to him and he takes a big pay cut to stay here. Or he will. Gets an extension worked out / pay cut where they give him like 2 more years and spread that money out a lot more, whereas cap hits only like $7-8 mil next year. That seems pretty likely. I'd honestly be pretty surprised if not. I feel like if he refuses, then we cut him, but I just don't see that.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like that would be like that.
We save $10 million at an outright cut pre-June 1st. And then if we do post June, it's 12 million, which isn't worth it. So, we do a pre-June first in that case, let him go find a new team or re-sign, who knows. But that his guaranteed dollars left is $7.404 million, what I'm looking at right here. So, and he's 30 years old. Tight ends can play for a little while, especially guys who specialize in what he does, and just kind of giving you his
blocking and touchdowns.
Good blocking and touchdowns and just getting your occasional catch. Now, I think that they want to turn Jackson Hawes into him, preferably. Yeah. I don't know if I love that idea. What? You like it? I just don't think I think his pass catching upside is minimal. I don't think he's the kind of athlete. See, Dawson Knox, he doesn't get enough credit. He's a really good athlete.
Yeah.
And he's fast. And that was this thing when he came out. He's like, he didn't have any touchdowns in college, but the athleticism, like to be at the high end tight end, are there, Yeah. And Hawes isn't that guy. Hawes is a really good blocker, just in a technique standpoint. I don't know if he really has the strength that Knox does, though, either. Knox is just freak.
He doesn't. You're right. I would be interested to see if Jackson Hawes could turn into a tight end too. I'm kind of infatuated with Jackson Hawes because he is born a football player.
Yeah.
He had that when they
he just wants to hit someone.
In college, he was talking about he would have in high school. He'd have his teammates slap him to get ready and stuff.
And he's got a good.
Because he saw a video, so he
has a tight end name. Yeah, his name. It's a tight end name, Jackson Hawes. It sounds like a football player.
Yeah, Dawson Knox only had 20 catches at Ole Miss in his final year, so it's not like the receiving production showed there, even though he is much more of an athlete. But if you
got DK and
AJ Brown,
AJ on the other sides,
and he was mainly a blocker. He was good at blocking. That's why we got him in the first place, and he was a lunch pail guy, just like Jackson Hawes. So if he's willing to learn and take those hits, then I'd love to just figure it out into a tight end to roll.
It could be a cheap. That might be their plan, to do a cheap Dawson Knox replacement next year and just be like, hey, you can take a cut or we can cut you. You know, I mean, that's
I would be pretty surprised if he doesn't take a pay cut, though. As I said,
he'll probably take a nice little hit. Yeah, he might drop it even down
100%.
to $8-9 million. I could see him taking a big
with an extension in place where they give him a 3-year, $25 million extension. With
guaranteed.
15 million. 15 million, 15, 16, and just have him take a pay cut this year and just spread that money out. That just probably seems like the most likely scenario.
Just keep hanging out with your boy Josh and playing ball.
I was going to say assistant tight end coach at the age of 34. Just to hang out in Buffalo.
Yeah, exactly. So final segment here. What are you guys thinking about the what are you looking for in the next preseason game, I guess, to start?
Everybody starting. It's like at least a good man. I don't know how much I'd like to see everybody play, but I would like to see everybody play and get congealed in the defensive backs, the linebackers, and the front for defense. And then I'd like, if Josh Allen ends up playing, I'm not going to be super mad if Josh Allen doesn't play, but if he does play, connections with Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore and Keon Coleman, and that's really, you can take them out after that.
I don't think anyone are going to play.
I'm nervous.
Yeah,
I'd like to see 2 drives out of Josh and then a full quarter out of the rest of the starters. Maybe even a little bit more.
I'm good with that.
I would like to see if Rapp can get healthy. I want to see both Rapp and Bishop for an entire half. Maybe I want to see a lot more Bishop. Like the defensive ends, I like to see some more rotations, or the defensive tackles, see how they work out that defensive line there. I'd like to see the offensive line play a full quarter more.
I don't need to see Bosa.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't need to see Russo. I don't need Groot. I don't need to see Ed Oliver. I'd be okay with it. Groot's a pretty healthy player.
I'd like to see Bernard and Milano. I'd like to see them together, see how they look. Like
I don't know. I want to see it happen. I don't think they're going to do it.
I don't think so. But I just like to see. I'd like to see it.
It's true. I just don't see him doing it.
I think 3 weeks ago it was a hard no, and by McDermott's demeanor week after week, I think it's changing into their playing. 3 weeks ago, Josh Allen was not playing without a doubt. He was like, "Have you seen him hit the net? He hasn't missed," sort of thing. And that was 3 weeks ago. Now he's like, "Okay, well, we're kind of in shambles all around," and that's not even week 2 of preseason. It's just it all just looks kind of day by day instead of week by week for this preseason.
So the other thing is, and this is why I'm against the starters playing. I don't think it does Josh. I don't think whether he plays or not, I don't think it really changes the way he comes out to these games. I think we start slow. Sometimes we start fast. I just think it's a hit or miss thing in week 1. But the Ravens are kind of reeling with some injuries now as well. And I'd prefer to keep it where we're as healthy as possible. They're going to miss potentially. Alexander hasn't played, hasn't practiced in like 10 days. Still getting his knee drained every week. They said it was, they didn't say what it was, but they said it was a reoccurring problem from before. So it's clearly the knee. Yeah, likely is probably going to be out, I think.
He's
D-Hop,
likely to be out.
Likely to be out. D-Hop is out of practice right now with a knee. Adisa Isaac's out. Darius Washington's not going to play.
I think Darius tore his Achilles, right?
He's already out.
Yeah,
he's been ruled out.
So,
and we're dealing with rookie.
Got a minor surgery.
Yeah. So there's some guys that they're going to be missing that they're impact players, like some guys that
I'd
I'm
kind of like to
concerned
see
with.
Emory Jones play because he's terrible.
Yeah, me too. I mean,
Bosa would feast on him.
I mean, Alexander is a good player when he's healthy. I just don't think he's there anymore. But if he comes in and they, give him a shot and he like a shot in his knee,
right, on block,
and he comes out, it's going to be. They got their corner room's really good all of a sudden, and then the safety room's going to be a wait and see because Washington is a really good safety. They lost. They're not going to be able to play those 3 safety sets, and they're also dealing with a rookie in there. Stark's a good player. I like him, but I think we can take advantage of a first week,
especially since he said he wanted to pick off Josh Allen. And how often does trash talking Josh Allen work? Go look at Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, not often.
Jalen Ramsey still gets cooked to this day, and he was saying this stuff back in 2018 when Josh Allen was.
And Isaiah likely changes their offense in the way they like to do things. Like likely got a lot of catches.
They love
last
those
year
12. They love the 12
personnel
personnel running the ball. Yeah, that 12 personnel where
you
you
have
have to worry about guarding
as well, because they like to run the fullback and 2 tight ends.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like likely,
and they're both blockers and receiving threats.
Yeah, like a couple times you'll see it. You'll be like, "Oh, Andrews is getting all the attention," and Likely's on the backside, and they're throwing him the pass on the other side of the field, and you're like, "Oh my god, how did he get so wide open?" And he's a better down the field threat. He's harder to deal with as an athlete. Andrews is more of your traditional tight end, so that changes the way they kind of operate in a lot of ways and how they're comfortable. And I really and D-Hop, I don't know if he's really it anymore. He doesn't scare me anymore, but. It's nice not to have him in the game.
They're gonna
he's
run,
better than their wide receiver 3 through 5. Like he is an upgrade versus what they had last year. Who was their wide receiver 3?
It was
Nelson Aguilar.
For a little bit, it was like Deontay Johnson, right?
Yeah, it was.
He subbed himself out because he was too
like
cold.
One practice. It wasn't Tez Walker. He didn't really play very much. I think it might have been. Was it Aguilar? Yeah, it might have been.
It might have been.
D-Hop is better than Nelson Aguilar.
Yeah, they'll run a lot. They'll give Lamar Jackson 18 carries.
The thing is,
Derrick Henry. They'll go that style.
The worst
the Ravens will treat this as their Super Bowl since we know they can't win in the playoffs.
Well, the worse their pass weapons look, the better off we are keying in and stopping the run. We're not having to worry about what's behind us so much. And linebackers are healthier now. Milano looks like he's hit another gear. He's kind of back to normal.
10 times better than it was.
D-line's thicker and more potent, I think. And then, I think Bosa, even though he plays end, I mean, he's going to be he's a huge upgrade with the way he plays the game. Yeah, he can set the edge better than – no. And AJ can't. AJ can, but
he can.
He's not bringing any pass rush upside like Bosa is, so it makes the tackle play him differently. He's going to have to worry about different skill sets.
Yeah.
Because the threat alone is an advantage for us. And I'm glad we're playing in week 1 for that reason, honestly.
Same.
Get him as healthy as we can against it. Yeah, I'm not kidding. The next 6 games, we should run through those games. I mean, if worst 5-1 in those games, and they should run Bosa out there and play him 60% of snaps, in my opinion, and run it. If he gets dinged up or hurt a little bit, we can handle the next 6 games. But people are writing off the Ravens. I don't know if y'all have heard this. People are writing off the Ravens game like it's not that big of a deal. They're like, "Oh, if we lose it," I'm like, "Dude, this is the 1 seed battle here.
1 seed, yeah.
It's huge, and it's at home. Like we got to give them payback for last year during the regular season. Like we beat them in the playoffs, and they want payback. We really should be the ones wanting payback after the way they mollywopped us in Baltimore last year. That was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing game.
In my opinion, it's probably the second most important regular season game I think the Chiefs will always be one just because it is the Chiefs, even though we
Yeah.
always continue to beat them.
Yeah. I almost think it's not anymore because we keep beating them in the regular season. I'd rather beat them in the playoffs. So maybe we should give them the
true.
dub there.
All the road for 1 seed, though, when it comes down to it. So Chiefs
Exactly.
and Ravens, if we go 2-0 there, that's the best out for the 1 seed.
I agree. And I think, to me, the Ravens sets the tone more.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'll be there. So that's another thing that I'm like.
I'll be there.
She matters.
I've got to show my daughter that I'm not a complete psychopath watching football. And also, my Ravens buddy will be there with me. So I don't want to have to deal with him at the Airbnb afterwards all, throughout the night. He's like, come on, man, it's fun. Like, he'll be talking trash. Like, the hard part is if he wins, I feel like he's in a better chance to get into a fight than if he loses, if they lose, Like, if the Ravens lose, he's probably golden. But if they win and he wants to like look at somebody the wrong way, I can't protect him at that point. He's got too many people, So,
yeah. Too many drunk idiots.
Keep your mouth shut. Yeah.
Dude, shut up. And I don't want to hear it.
I brought you
either.
a Bills jersey to leave the stadium.
If they beat us and it gets jumped, I'm gonna jump in and be like, just like, dude, somebody hit me in the back of the head. Dude, I was the one who pulled you out.
Yeah.
Oh man.
After I punched you in the face 2 times.
Yeah. I thought it was the other guy.
Yeah. Sorry, it's dark. I've had too many beers. I couldn't see properly.
Exactly. So anyway, guys, y'all got anything else you want to cover today before we jump off? We're right under an hour, a little bit less than an hour right now. We're up to 117. Yeah. We started slow tonight. It was like 20 for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's funny. I forgot to share it. As soon as I shared it, people started jumping. So maybe that's the key, is to share more often, because 113 are on Twitter.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love to see it.
Absolutely. All right, guys.
Appreciate
I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same channel, 8:30 p.m. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and go Bills.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollo's, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.